This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, of course, good morning once again, and thank you so much for keeping it here with us on UBC. Now it is Good Morning Uganda, and of course, being Friday, we do give you something quite special to do kickstart your day. Now, not forgetting that most of you guys are home, and of course, as we always say, you guys wake up to sleeping, to waking up, to sleeping. And Kelly, the only time where I want to sort of like give you something different from normal routine of what you do at home is try to go and get some good vibes. Being Friday, most of you probably will be gearing up to go in, having fun, hanging out, guys make travels and all these kind of things, which you can do right now because you're in lockdown. So we're trying to unlock you today morning with some good vibes. And guess what? Today in studio we have some awesome, tremendous, beautiful, and of course talented people. And I'll give the honor to both of them to give us some good introduction. And I'll start with the lady next to me. That is KARUNGI, if I'm not mistaken. Good morning, KARUNGI.
Good morning.
How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good to have you.
I am honored.
You look awesome, I must say.
Thank you very much.
You're keeping it African.
Yes.
And right next to KARUNGI is the man himself, the rapper. He told me he doesn't want people calling him hip hop and all that. So, PROFET.
Yes, sir.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing much.
You're good?
Good.
Good to have you.
Nice to be here too. It's an honor and a pleasure.
Great, great. You guys, you look like superstars. I don't know, is it in the belief? Is it in the forthcoming? Is it in the prophecy? You have
to act so. It's the faith.
Definitely, definitely. You must live in what you are going to be. That's great. So tell me about yourselves, and I'll start with you, Prophet. Tell us about yourself briefly before you give us this performance.
Well, my name is Elijah Hitonziwa, aka Prophet, aka the African Prince. I'm a rapper, I'm a singer, and I love God, and I love music. Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Yes, Karen, tell us about yourself briefly.
First of all, I am the daughter of the Most High. Yeah. Yeah. But my name is KARUNGI Gabriela. I am a singer, a worshipper. I love God, and yeah, I love music.
Wow. Daughter of the Most High, clearly. And now that you guys are here, maybe just also again briefly, how did you guys get to this kind of platform? What are you guys doing? Where are you from? And probably also help our viewers understand exactly what you guys have been going through. Maybe Prophet, you tell us that.
Well, me and KARUNGI, by the grace of God, were nominated this year for a program called Power FM Presents. And this is a mentorship program from Power FM Uganda, whereby they get upcoming artists and take them through mentorship, which is crowned off with a mega concert. So basically the journey has been, we've been going through mentorship since May.
Yeah, classes
since May, and I think we're about to get done with them. And then
we are done. We graduated.
The
mega concert is like our graduation.
So are there rooms for retake? It seems like this nigga did pass the classes, because how do you forget?
I was active.
Everyone can't wait to get done with any form of. And I know. Yeah. So
the beauty is because they were so interesting.
So
interesting.
So you want to rebound.
Yeah.
So let me just bring in KARUNGI and yourself. What's your experience with this whole process?
Well, it's been amazing.
Oh, yeah?
Because joining the music industry, I think it was good, really. Because the very first song I actually sang is the one that actually got out there, and people are like, oh my God, this song, oh my God, Kalulu, oh my God, this song.
What song is that?
It's called Kalulu. Oh. It's a song by Smart Keys. Kalulu.
Kalulu in time, like, ooh.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. So, so joining the industry was actually like overnight. Mm-hmm. Things don't happen usually overnight, but
you didn't see it coming.
Yes, I didn't see it coming. And when I got nominated, or when they called me and actually told me I was Power FM Presents Artist of 2021, I also couldn't believe it. Mm. And the classes have really taught me a lot about the like music and performances, about how to be an artist, how to
carry yourself.
Yes, how to carry yourself. You need to do this, you need to do this, and I've really learned a lot.
All right.
Yeah.
Well, they have learned a lot, and clearly you want to share into what they have learned in terms of music and in terms of their presentations. And right now we'll let them give us some of those presentations, or what you want to call performances, that will give us a touch of exactly what's been going on and how talented these people are. And I'll let our Prophet pick it up, but later on also we'll be having Karungi give us production.
Is where my freedom came. When Kuimusanga Semola, the power broke off all the chains.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm, rhythm. So feel the beat, feel the beat, so what?
DJ Victor, what's up?
I think, hey, yo, ooh, hey, say,
you know how to do
This Prophet presents African Prince.
hey,
Yo,
ooh,
hey,
say, hey, yo, ooh,
hey, say.
hey, yo, hey, say, hey, yo, ooh, hey, say.
Let's get it, let's get it, let's get it. This one is from the top. African Prince, it's your boy. Feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm.
Feel the rhythm, so feel the beat, so what?
Let's go.
feel me when I'm coming on a different cruise.
Them is that's why I never lose. Scoring worldwide is my desired truth. Never underestimate the pop move, bringing the vibe on top. Let's grab chances, solved it all on Calvary. Now I advance. I can taste the sweetest feeling when I rap things. I spit direct to your heart and make you leap dance.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm, feel
The rhythm.
so feel the beat.
Shout out to DJ Victor 256, the Mystery Zambia.
Feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm, feel the rhythm, so feel the beat, feel the beat.
Yes.
So what?
Get the groove right, all win on antics. Shout out to the Most High who makes it happen. We're here to minister to your heart, but he's a surgeon. Give you a spare key. My Jesse Kutiago WPCMB. Body arm of righteousness fits on high heel.
Feel the rhythm,
Feel the rhythm.
feel the rhythm.
Good morning, Uganda.
So feel the beat,
This is your boy.
So what?
Yeah, hey, I think. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhythm. Feel the rhythm. So feel the beats. So feel the beats. Yo, you know how we do this. This is your boy Prophet, featuring the lovely Karungi. It's all about PROFET Presents 2021. Shout outs to Power FM. Shout outs to the whole team. Shout outs to everyone that has got us here at this moment. Good morning, Uganda. It's your girl.
Never seen me a kind of love like this. Sometimes I wonder why you love me so. Omukwano gumpanza me na contest. Nah, that's why me go and confess. When me walking on the dark, me not look over my shoulder. When Davidi done the woods and I older, I let a blessing in on me folder. You are my soldier, on one need and tellers on over sunder. You're the holder and the lifter of my head. Through my darkest I will give you praise. You're the holder and the lifter of my head. Through my darkest I will give you praise. One nothing's ever love. You give me wings so me fly like dove. Me praise you cause you're the man on top, the man above, giving me everything I have, yeah. You call me the apple of your eye. You give me love that I cannot deny. Your goodness keeps running after me, even when I don't deserve it. In Nigeria they call you Oluwa. Me praise you kuba no wazinga waka. Wakundeka etunza sijiwa. But enemy might come for Oluwa. Yeah, the holy rain lifts through my head. Through my darkest I will give you praise. Kubisa kalulu. Oh, you're the holy rain that lifts through my head. Through my darkest I will give you praise. Never send me a kind of love like this. Hey, sometimes I wonder why you love me so, love me so. Omukwano gumpanze me na contest. Nah, that's why me go and confess. Yeah, when me walking on it up, me not look over my shoulder. When David them the boots and not older. I like a blessing in me folder. You are my soldier, running and tell us I'm over sonder. You're the holy one that lifts through my head. Through my darkest I will give you praise. Kalulu. You're the holy one that lifts through my head. Through my darkest I will give you praise. Hey, Kubisa Kalulu, Akalulu. Yeah, Kalulu, Kalulu.
You know what it is?
Power FM presents 2021.
This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Very interesting. We start your weekend here in Good Morning Uganda Friday special, and it is very clear we've begun spicing it up with music, with a performance there, and I'm sure you enjoyed yourself. It is special Friday. Today we are in our studios. We've not gone out, but at least we still have, that is the artist to spice up your early morning. Well, so much is happening around the world and also back home. And these are some of the stories we are going to be discussing this morning. But thank you so much for starting your day with us. and we are ready to usher you into the weekend. But I'm not alone. This morning I'm with Felix Nkunda. Yes, you earlier saw him opening up the show with our guest, but also we are joined by Molen Kenyana. This is the lady that does weather and nature. Today she will discuss that later, but of course we'll be looking at some of the stories that made headlines, and she'll join me read some of these stories and also be part of this discussion as we go along. I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono, and let's kickstart it by looking at some of the stories that were in our news bulletins, that is yesterday. We begin with the changes that were made in permanent secretaries by His Excellency Yoweri Kaguta Museveni. Was President Yoweri Museveni appointed Lucy Nachobe Mbonye as the head of public service and secretary to cabinet, Miss Jane Bareche as the State House Controller, Miss Mariam Wangadia as the chairperson of the Human Rights Commission, Betty Namisango Kamya as the new Inspector General of Government, Anne Muhaire, Deputy Inspector General of Government. Mr. Ramadhan Ngobi is the new Permanent Secretary, Minister of Finance and Secretary to the Treasury. Adolf Mwesije is the new Clerk to Parliament. Principal Private Secretary to the President, Dr. Kenneth Omona. Principal Private Secretary to the Vice President, Alex Kakoza. Permanent Secretary, Office of the Prime Minister, Keith Mohakanizi. Permanent Secretary, Office of the President, Yunus Kakande. PS, Ministry of Agriculture, Major General David Kasura Chomukama. And PS, Internal Affairs, Lieutenant General Moses Musanyufu. PS, Ministry of Gender, Labor and Social Development remains Agre Kabenge. PS, Ministry of ICT and National Guidance, Dr. Amina Zawede. Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Trade, Industry and Cooperatives, Geraldine Sali. PS, Ministry of Public Service, now Catherine Bitarakwete. And PS, Ministry of Tourism, Wildlife and Antiquities, Doreen Katusime. PS, Ministry of East African Affairs, Edith Mwanje. PS, Ethics and Integrity, Alex O. Okedo. PS, Ministry of Water, Environment, Adolf Okidi. And Permanent Secretary, Ministry of Works and Transport, Bagaya Waiswa. Those are the appointments of the President. Some have retained their positions, others have been dropped, and some are now newcomers into these positions of leadership and are more so chief accounting officers at different ministries. Away from the appointments, we now look at the weather and what it has caused, where we see River Nyamwamba once again burst its backs. But this time around, no deaths were registered, where Kirembe Mine has again been a victim of River Nyamwamba flood bursts that flipped over its banks, affecting Kirembe Mine's mini hydropower station, though no death was registered. This time around, there were no communities along the river banks that were affected, since many of the families had been relocated to internally displaced camps, transit camps in areas of Muhocha and Kanyangweya, as the plainlands on mountain range Zoli adjacent to Queen Elizabeth National Park. Nyamwamba River, for over 10 years, the river has been bursting, catastrophic disasters displacing communities and destroying public and private properties, elevated and valuated to billions of shillings every time it bursts. The river has since 2013 destroyed property and government infrastructure worth billions of shillings. It is unusual to see River Nyamwamba flooding in a dry spell. Yesterday morning, River Nyamwamba took residents of Kasese municipality to another raid of surprise. Well, we now head to Molen to give us more of these local stories.
Yes, Kirabo. Now, I want to also add on that story about Nyamwamba. I think it's clear that we're seeing the frequency is increasing for, the number of times River Nyamwamba is bursting its banks. That's an interesting story right there. But also we want to look more into the fire outbreak in Masese, that is in Jinja districts. Now, over 40 families have been left homeless at Masese village after a blazing fire burnt the homesteads to ashes, destroying property worth millions of shillings. Now, lucky enough, there are no reported deaths. Police in Jinja is investigating the root cause of the fire. However, natives in the interim have told the investigators that the fire outbreak started at 7:30 p.m. That was Wednesday night. And now police firefighters here also are attributing the fire outbreak to a charcoal stove that was burning in one of the kitchens of the residents. However, police firefighters managed to reach out in time, putting off the fire that was nearly burning over 40 homes to ashes. Now, speaking to eyewitnesses, residents here made attempts to put off blazing fires, but also their efforts were put in vain. And I think that is generally because at that point there is no enough equipment to put off the fire. Now, in other stories, we do have COVID updates. Uganda has started registering a gentle downward trend in the current COVID-19 upsurge. Currently, active cases at health facilities stand at 853 with a positive rate of 8.2%. Now, the numbers pale in comparison with those that were registered in early June up to the lockdown, meaning that these numbers are actually going down. One interesting story is from Semwogere Francis, who is a florist along Bombo Road in Kampala, who says that this business has been engaged, he has been engaged in this business for the last 10 years, and now he says that he had never experienced a surge in demand for funeral bouquets and wreaths like they did in the days leading to the recent lockdown. Now, the increased demand saw many people open up flower stalls in order to make a living out of this business, but that is it's a kind of a tragic story, but for him it was a game changer, looking at the demand being more. However, Semogere also says that the demand is now decreasing, and this has also been attested by the Minister of Health, Dr. Jane Ruth Acheng. She, however, cautioned the general public against compliance. Acheng added that they are looking at a systematic way of opening up the economy while emphasizing vaccination. Now, this is really interesting. However, we are looking at numbers going down, but at the same time, people have been now benefiting out of businesses like, getting flowers. They are also going to see the business go down. Felix, what do you have for us this morning?
Yeah, well, of course, much news again in international stories, and what we'll be looking at, the major story is about Joe Biden, who did make a meeting with Merkel against Russian aggression. Now, the US and Germany will stand together against Russian aggression. President Joe Biden came out to make mention of that, and he did come out to also welcome Chancellor Angela Merkel to Washington. Now, Mr. Biden said he had voiced concerns to Mrs. Merkel over the Russia to German gas pipeline, but they agreed Moscow cannot be allowed to use energy as a weapon. Now, of course, a US president said the two allies also opposed anti-democratic actions by China, and Merkel, who has worked with 4 US presidents, is leaving office as well. Now, we stand together. We will continue to stand together to defend our eastern flank allies and NATO against Russia aggression. Also, Biden told the news agency on Thursday. Now, still looking at Germany, we see Germany floods and dozens killed after record rain in Germany and Belgium. Now, 70 people have died in Germany and Belgium after record rainfall caused rivers to burst their banks. Most of the victims were German, but also at least 11 have died in Belgium, which with more reported missing. Now, Germany states of Rhineland and Palatinate and the North Rhine, Westphalia, and other cities were most hit, but also in Netherlands, it also badly affected. Now, more heavy rains are forecast across the region on Friday, while local officials have blamed climate change. Now, Alistair Amin Lachet, the premier for North Rains, also came to blame this that happened on the extreme weather, which is as a result of global warming and poor usage of the environment. Well, of course, crossing back to Africa, we'll look at South Africa, and the state came out to deploy more than 20,000 troops as death toll tops 100. Now, South Africa has begun deploying more than 20,000 troops to assist police in quelling a week-long unrest as the death toll soared to 117 people in the rioting and looting following the jailing of former President Jacob Zuma. Authorities also said that in one of the largest deployments soldiers since the end of the white minority rule, that is in 1994, the government said 10,000 soldiers were on the streets by Thursday morning, and South African National Defence Forces has also called up all its reserve forces of about 12,000 troops to come and join in the effort. Now, in a show of force, a convoy more than a dozen armored personnel carriers brought soldiers, and so that is on Thursday into Gauteng province, South African most populous, which also includes largest city, Johannesburg, and the executive capital of Pretoria. Now, buses, trucks, aeroplanes, and helicopters were also being used to move the large deployments of troops in the troubled spots of Gauteng.
I asked myself, is this the cost of justice? If you're taking Zuma on for contempt of court, 100 lives have been lost, the deployment that has been made. We received reports that some of, I don't want to call them Zuma supporters, maybe some of the hooligans, because we know there are those that really having a cause and those that come to loot and benefit, that went and even cut a fence of a game reserve just to worsen the situation. So I'm looking at, though they expect maybe a ruling if Zuma will be out, but this, if we are craving for justice, I think then here it has been very expensive for South Africa.
But like at what cost, really, for them?
Well, of course, it is what it is, and everyone will tell you they are just in their own cause. We'll be talking. Last time we talked to Kakuru, he gave us his angle. The nationals have been coming out also to give us their angles. Everyone feels justified in their own cause. But anyway, far from that, Robert, back to Uganda. You did mention a couple of changes there that the president did come out to make, and we hope that this will be beneficial in times of COVID, as you see that we're struggling with a lot of things. But don't forget, we have had performances this morning by, that is KARUNGI and PROFET. Now, these guys have been undergoing some sort of mentorship through, I think, Power FM, if not mistaken. But they have done some of their songs earlier on, if you managed to listen to what they did. And maybe just before we have them, Robert, to do another performance, just to ask Molen here, what's your kind of music?
I am more into R&B.
So
and country music.
R&B.
Locally or internationally?
You can give me both.
Maybe I'll just say internationally. I like Rihanna. Yeah, she's
why?
She's just her music. The flavor.
Somebody was telling me that she's been married over how many times?
More than Jennifer Lopez.
And I'm thinking,
well,
I
not
think
more than J-Lo.
This week, I think she broke up with her most recent husband. I guess divorce or something like this.
But we do like her music. That is the
most
important thing. Yeah.
And in Uganda, who's your best artist in Uganda?
In Uganda, I really don't have like specifically this is
okay,
my
like
best.
3 people.
Okay.
Whose music you love to listen to?
I love to listen to Shiba's music.
Oh.
It's really good.
Like which song?
Yeah.
Engedi.
That is your song. That is your song.
Like 2 songs of Shiba.
That is your song, not mine. And I think also, let me see, with the guys.
3 songs.
I like Engedi, that's for sure.
Okay.
And don't ask me specifically which ones, but I like almost all her music. Really. She's good.
There's a song called Enyanda.
Felix, share that
okay. Felix is Kabako, so when that energy. So share with us some energy.
You're talking about the man in Uganda?
I like Maurice Kilia's songs. His music is unique, and I like that. And specifically, I think the song I loved most is Never Been Loved Before.
Ooh.
Yeah, it's kind of like the lyrics in that song it's
powerful.
It's powerful. It goes deep and
Not Busaba.
no, not Busaba, but it's also
Busaba is really good.
Yeah,
but also he has another one called
that is really, really nice.
Kirabo, what's your kind of music? Do you love music? Let's start there.
Yeah, I love music.
What kind of music?
Slow music.
Okay, who's your best slow artist, internationally and locally?
Internationally, I enjoy the likes of Asian, like I told Mariah Carey, the boys.
You know the next question when you say an artist. Just tell us three of her songs.
In Uganda,
let's go slow.
Okay.
Mariah Carey, just give us three of your best songs for Mariah Carey.
A corporate, I may not have that this is my very best, but to be honest, but I just like Mariah Carey, I like The Boys to Men, I like Westlife.
Kirabo, Mariah Carey.
Westlife. He also mentioned Westlife, really.
Queen of My Heart.
Yeah.
And in Uganda?
In Uganda, definitely, with no doubt, Juliana Kanyomozi. Play me anything by Juliana Kanyomozi, you have me.
That's wow.
Every time I tell you Kirabo is not of this age.
Why?
People keep on saying I lie, Kirabo, Pairiza, Kirabo. Now you've seen. But anyway, please don't forget to follow us on our social media platforms on Facebook, on Twitter, but also you can catch us live. We're streaming live on YouTube. And definitely also do not forget to catch the beautiful performances of KARUNGI and PROFET. These guys have been
Felix, you didn't tell us who is your best, what kind of music do you like?
Me, apparently, I'm so versatile. I love, as long as music is good. Though I used to do a lot of reggae music. I used to do a lot of reggae vibes, and for me, reggae is sort of like culture. It just puts me away.
So do you know an artist called Madok Samati?
Definitely.
You love his music?
So much.
What generation are you?
No.
What generation are you?
No, but apparently, no, because really, apparently, I also love Jamaica. I have been keen to follow a number of artists, and also they're legendary. The likes of Lieutenant Stitchie, Josie Williams, Morgan Heritage. Those are the kind of people who do like that real reggae nice music. But of course, also most recently, you've seen the likes of Busy Signal, Mr. Goffin, the Beanie Man, the Lieutenants, the Natasha, those people.
So back home,
Back home, definitely. I love Kenzo's music. For me, it's a big deal. He's a brother.
Not a reggae artist?
No, not in. You say it locally.
Like his best artist.
Yeah, I feel that has done justice to the music industry. Shiba equally, she's done good for the girl power. I love her music, and of course the other people who excite me. Chameleon has done tremendously. I love his music.
Chameleon's voice.
Yeah, he has nice music, but
thing.
also uniquely.
The messages he puts in the
Yeah.
song. That's powerful.
Yeah, the list is endless. But uniquely, it would be unfair for me not to talk about this artist. No. Eddie Kenzo is of course the best, but Kabako.
Yes.
You know, I love diversity, as I told you. For example, look at guys like John Black. Whoever thought that kind of music would be there? The boa boa boa. You know, then the likes of Fig Maker, they're nice rapper, they do what. So Kabako is unique in his own sense.
I love the energy. For me, Kabako.
But also gospel artists.
Sometimes I don't even understand what he's sing about. But
you enjoy his performance.
I just enjoy the performance.
But of course, also there are many gospel artists that to be unfair for me not to mention some of them, like in Uganda specifically. Wilson Mugembe has done some justice to that industry. Pastor Brian Lubega, Ivan TIT, the Levicksons of this world, the Ray J's, now KARUNGI and PROFET. And definitely, speaking of KARUNGI and PROFET, we will have a break. When we come back, we will usher you into their other performances for you to appreciate the kind of people who are going to take rock of this gospel music scene.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
Was brought to you by.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Echa COVID-19 chijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
When you talk about our motherland Uganda, the Pearl of Africa, you cannot fail to smile because of the smile that fills the faces of the citizens. Our nice good weather and nature that sustains us all, that enables us all to continue each in their own way because we are all different even according to each individual's work. But what joins us to become one person is the sweetness from the flavored drink Alleluia Jingati drink and Alleluia Tamarind drink. The flavor that quenches your thirst while at the same time treating and healing your body because it is 100% natural. Enjoy the drink that has got the tamarind juice in it. Made by Alleluia Reflexology, Healthy Solutions and Nutritional Research Center Limited. Get yourself a bottle of Alleluia from all shops around.
As the financial year 2020-2021 draws to an end, URA has put measures in place to facilitate taxpayers to file their returns and pay taxes within the set deadline. All our offices across the country and the URA Contact Center shall remain open to provide extra support to our esteemed taxpayers. Additionally, we have extended our contact center service hours from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday and from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays and public holidays. In light of the COVID-19 risks, we encourage taxpayers to reach us through our improved contact center and other online platforms instead of making physical visits to our offices. For online support, please reach us through our toll-free lines 0800 117 000 or 0800 217 000. Email services@ura.go.ug. Website ura.go.ug. Social media Facebook URA page, Twitter @URA Uganda. URA Customs Help Tool help.ura.go.ug/login. URA appreciates all taxpayers who have duly fulfilled their obligations. Stay safe and let us all observe the standard operating procedures to prevent further spread of the COVID-19 virus. Stay safe as we develop Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together. Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
Yeah. If you are chum, you can stand up a little bit. I know it's cold, I know it's in the morning, but you know what's up. Yeah, Jesus again and again, prophet again. Nobody can be you, nobody can be me. Put me on the front and see. The God I serve is free. The one mukisakwe, only one mukisakwe. Yeah, everyone watching, what's up? Started with no case in my wallet. Didn't think I was meant for this new subject. Making glory days, the spiritual realm, my pure physical. Honestly, my faith was loose, it was mechanical. But I'm blessed beyond curse, that's what the preacher said. Is my worry even worth a single penny stretch? The greatest cancer is figuring out your purpose. God is intentional, but you gotta keep focused. Abilities will get killed by your fears. Juicy Nalibubi, all I knew was tears. An incorruptible seed is where I sprout from. True solely, maybe Kadnetebi Dawaka. Nobody can be me. Put me on the front and see. The God I serve is free. The one mukisagwe, only one mukisagwe. Yeah, African Prince. Bikola blanketi kubula mu bwogo berere kigambe kiri ku mutima gwo oli wa muwendo tewegomba mulala walinya level oli mwana wa kabaka. Confidence high, the love I felt in July stirred me up, no longer got my head down. Why should I lie? There's more to life than you out there chilling in the blue skies. His dominion is crazy, follow him closely. He forgave you for everything, this is said softly. Turn it up, they can only be one you. They be looking at themselves, they don't have a clue. Nobody can be me. Put me on the front and see. The God I serve is free. The one mukisagwe. Show everyone there. Only one mukisa. Tell it to yourself, you're blessed, you're unique, you're highly favored. Nobody can be you. Nobody can be me. Put me on the front and see. The God I serve is free. The one mukisagwe. Yeah. Only one mukisagwe. Yeah, 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 yeah. Say Jesus again and again. Again and again. Prophet again and again. Again and again. Jesus again and again. Again and again. Prophet again and again. The one who keeps a way. Yeah. PROFET presents the lovely KARUNGI.
I keep trying to fight the voices in my head. They try to tell me I am not good enough. I keep trying to tell myself, look ahead. What they say about you, it don't matter, no. I won't listen to you anymore. I'm a daughter of a king. I won't look through your eyes anymore. He calls me beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. When I look myself in the mirror, I don't see what he sees. Underneath all of this makeup, he tells me he sees beauty. He says I am perfect. He says I am worth it, and that he'll never change a thing, no. I won't listen to you anymore. I'm a daughter of a king. your eyes anymore. He calls me beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful. Oli Murungi, Oli Wanjaula, 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 Oli Murungi, Oli Wanjaula. I won't listen to you anymore. I'm a daughter of a king. I won't look through your eyes anymore. He calls me beautiful. I am beautiful. I am beautiful.
Yeah, you know what it is.
You are unique, you are beautiful. Don't let anybody tell you otherwise.
Don't let no one fool you.
From UBC Studios in Kampala, this is Good Morning Uganda.
I just want to thank you for being part of Friday's special. Prophet doing it there, they are really ensuring that you keep entertained and of course move away from this. It's a time when I lock down that mood. We want you to cheer up. Life is all about cheering up because we believe in better tomorrows. As we talk about cheering up, well, all is not that rosy for our brothers and sisters in Kasese, those are nearby River Nyamamba, because we saw it again burst its banks and destroying property. The good thing this time around, we did not register death because many of those that were near the river banks had been evacuated to a safer place. They were in transit camps and so we did not see loss of lives. But this is what they call climate change. When I grew up, I knew that Uganda had 2 rainy seasons. And you'd either plant or forget. That was, we had the March to May. So you either plant, and that was the biggest rainy season, where if you want long crops that take long time, that is the time. Then we knew we had September to December. And that is how you would plan your way. But currently it is raining in and out of season. Well, this is what I want to put to my colleague here, that is Molen. First, help us understand, for us who are the people that maybe previously had crammed some way of doing things regarding to nature. Where do we get these changes that previously we knew we have a country, 2 rainy seasons? Now, we are not in any of the rain seasons, but Sakya just flooded, River Nyamamba bursting at a time when they don't expect it to do.
You see, we have had these seasons, and Uganda having actually 2 major rainy seasons. That is March to May, and then September to December. more stressing to late November. So what happens is that even with these variations in climate, our seasons have not changed. They have just deviated from what normally took place within those seasons. So the seasons are still there. We still consider them as the 2 rainy seasons, although there are variations. And that is what is now bringing all the chaos about climate change, diverting us from the normal in our seasons. But it is also interesting to see how there is extreme weather even in the dry seasons. And you look at Nyamwamba, what we are having now in Nyamwamba, it's clearly not a major rainy season over that area. But also we've had a lot of instances across this area, Felix, looking at people losing their lives, looking at people losing their property. It's kind of stressing for that region.
I know, and we've been having these challenges in different patterns. For example, they're not any different. I think a couple of months ago, we had something where we even saw people harboring just around the roads. And before that, you saw landslides and all this. But it all speaks back to the confines of environment and how we deal with the environment and the response that turns out to be in terms of these disasters. The same thing you've seen, if you remember the story we did in Germany, Belgium and Netherlands. Yeah. What's happening? What we're talking about with River Mwamba is also has happened in Europe, most recent. Unfortunately for them, they have lost over 100 people. But we thank God this time around you have not lost anyone. But the question is probably the big question in this course should be how do we either choose to live around these calamities or find solutions, because it's nature. How much can you do about nature?
I love the word you've used, it is nature, and this brings me to a question. River Nyamwamba has been there maybe for over years, but we are seeing it in the last, since 2013. That is when we began seeing these it bursting, losing lives, stripping even medical. As now the mini hydropower station that government had injected money into is all gone. Why is it now? Because that is where we can stem from to know what should we do to avert such from happening. Why now? Not maybe the last 50, 30 years. Why now? Why are they more rampant now, Molly?
The fact of the matter is the climate has changed, and this is something we need to accept. Because there is, we no longer, we can't beat around the fact that the climate has changed. What we were seeing 10 years ago or 20 years ago is no longer applying to our environmental issues. Because guess what? It is going to continue changing actually, and we are going to see more of these events. The frequency and also the intensity. Look at a situation where in dry seasons we used to have, just small rains, and they're not really bringing any harm, maybe just flash flooding. But now if a river like Nyamwamba keeps bursting its banks, even in the dry seasons, it goes to show you how much this is varying. And also it's not just River Nyamwamba that is having this for now. Look at areas like Karamoja. There are times when, for them, if it's a dry season, it's a drought. It's a drought. So that's already extreme weather. Then now they are actually getting a relief, moving from this drought, from this dry season. The rains come and it's flooding. So even when they are planting crops, and they are waiting for the rains. Now the rains come, it floods, and like Karamoja is a low-lying area, so it ends up actually destroying the crops that are underground. So this is how much everything is changing around us.
So would one be right to say that it's human activity that has resulted on mishandling of the environment? That's why we are seeing these rampant changes in the environment, not for the good of man, but for the worst of man. And then how best can we mitigate or reduce the frequency at which they are happening?
Absolutely. This is 90% actually over 90% due to human activities, because everything that is leading to these changes, especially the temperature rise, is due to the human activities. We are the ones that are actually bringing in all these gases to the atmosphere, again looking at global warming, again looking at how it is now in turn reacting. It's like we harm nature, then it is also revenging back, that is by giving us all these extreme weather that we don't want. So it is absolutely human activities that are contributing. But what can we do to actually cope with this situation?
Felix, most of the times we've had chats, and this is very interesting. Offset that Felix usually tells me that he wonders why he sees that sometimes these laws are not applying to all. What has been the biggest challenge, Felix, in ensuring that we restore sanity, to ensure that we mitigate, we prevent these occurrences?
Well, clearly every attribute in terms of conservation must work back towards the policy of government in terms of how much it can do. Now, in relation to weather or climate for this particular reason, or in this particular country, or for the region, we have not had some vivid and strong concepts or probably conventions that are geared towards environmental protection or climate protection, and we yet to have these discussions, because they cannot, you see, when you talk about environment, activity in Kenya can affect Uganda, Tanzania, Uganda, or even the region. So we must have our leaders awake to the fact that they must have some general agreements in terms of how they approach the issue of environment. Now, I expect that we should be having a discussion at an East African level, where you have countries like Kenya, Tanzania, you have Uganda, Burundi, Rwanda, South Sudan, Congo. Basically, the region must interest itself into a discussion to do with environment. So, also, for us to do understand again that having these discussions will probably go a mile into informing what kind of laws individual countries will make. For example, you look at Uganda, you look at the NEMAs of this world. They have no umbrella regulation, in as much as there is the United Nations Convention on how conservation and what. But we need something much more domesticated that appreciates away from the universal application, but something to do with region, because of the relativeness of the kind of behavior in terms of the livelihood of our people, the poverty or socioeconomic levels, and also the political styles in these countries. Because the universal law is good, but it cannot apply, say, to Belgium, and is how it applies to Uganda. But how about we get what we call a regional law in terms of climate and environment conservation? I think for me that will be able to remedy most of these things.
I just love the statement when you talked about the political. Looking at Uganda, for example, yes, we have the epitome, the world body, then we come to East Africa, and then we come to Uganda as a country, where we have the National Environment Management Authority, we have the Environmental Police as a country. These are units specifically to handle the environment, but we've seen forests get degazetted. Do you know why? Because of political pressure. Our people have nowhere to move. They were chased from the game reserves. They were moved from their places of residence. Now let's degazette a forest. You know, we've seen issues of corruption where you move around, and we know there is an industry that's supposed to happen, to be constructed, but there has to be an environmental impact assessment report. And you know what happens?
So who's to blame? All that saying, who's to blame and what well.
Which is why for me I always pose this to be an individual fight when we are talking about climate action, really. Because we recently saw that in northwestern Uganda, that is West Nile, where they did arrest people that were trying to encroach on the forest. So that was a community effort, and they put pressure on their leaders. So that pressure, if we can, come together and make this an individual fight, we could actually put the same pressure and minimize some of this. And also I want to look at really what Uganda can do in terms of the changing climate. It's inevitable, and we're not contributing a lot to what is happening, by the way, globally. But what can we do? Mostly we have to form adaptation measures. We have to just make sure these are enough and feasible for everyone. Because you look at like what happened in Nyamwamba. What could they have done to stop that happening? It's an extreme weather event.
That 3 years back, government set aside money to ensure that they begin building these riverbanks. But I was watching the story, how local leaders and the leadership there, they were wondering, since then, what has happened? When a contractor came, instead of starting from the source, they have begun from the bottom. So there are also irregularities when you talk about adaptation, how can we prevent this? Everything seems to be that at times either there is lack of will or lack of effective monitoring. Because I always tell people that Uganda has one of the best laws. This is my opinion. And Molin and Felix, I believe if you got our laws and maybe gave them another country where they implement laws, you'd be shocked that these laws would change.
I don't know why it is just like you telling a barren woman she's a good mother. It sounds, even for lack of a better word or for a better kind word, it sounds insultive. It is a hopeless state. You get the point. When you tell a woman, yeah, you're like a barren woman, you're a beautiful mother.
Because she can't give back.
That's the thing. So, good laws are so useless. In fact, it is the most hopeless thing we can pride about as a country if they never cause change in the country. You get the point. We have talked about the law to regulate polythene bags. Truly, fairly, research, what does it take?
You know, you're chasing away investors and jobs.
That is rubbish. That's what I'm saying.
Our neighbors have done it, and this is what is hurting. There is nothing
investors
like
can only be in Uganda for 10 years, and they leave. And they go with the money they have made. How about your children who are going to live in this country for the next 50 years?
When they can no longer
So where is your priority? That's why this whole thing, you talk about issues, for example, of protecting places or like swamps, like people, you give Chinese the swamps to zip in to whatever building, the industries. What you see, it's just like, have you ever been in a situation of a hard place and a rock, but you have to make a decision? What do you live for as a country? So this whole story of the Nyamwambas, the landslides, those ones are going to happen. That's why in my discussion earlier, I didn't talk about Uganda. I put it at a regional level. That may be that way, it will be much coercive in terms of implementation. That it is a general agreement on preservation of the environment by the East and Central region. You can have all these countries, about 10 countries. That will be more binding. But this whole aspect, Ugandan's biggest issue is corruption and political godfathers. You talk about Buvera, mutabani wa Kirabo. You know, you talk about who's building in the swamp, muzukuru wa Kirabo. Now, this country is run by grandchildren, their grandfathers, and the fathers. So, with that kind of atmosphere, you can't do much. And it is everywhere, by the way. You go in terms of enforcement. Who are arrested, who are not arrested? I saw they arrested people in terms of curfew here this whole week. But let's be honest. And there are places where people do these things. You know them. But when you go there, they'll tell you what.
I know.
So, with this one, I saw it quoted 3 things. Political style. What is the style of politics in Uganda? That will determine so much what we can do in terms of environment and conservation. Political style. Do we have a style that is hands-on, or a pampering style, or a family lineage style? That's for you to answer. So the laws, as good as useless, or they are as good, or they can be useful depending on the political style. In countries where they have a legal political style system, the laws work. The laws work. But in countries where there is no regime, legal regime, political style, where you have family, friends, jaja, sweeper, what?
For me, I can summarize this by saying sometimes these are unfortunate incidents, and I'm not being maybe inhuman or in any way. But for me, I love it when weather or when nature speaks more.
Yeah.
I love it. Do you know why? Because when it speaks, people learn lessons. When people lose property, when people at times lose lives, that is where you see they get empowered and they can now rise up in arms and tell you that in Nkunda you will not build here. We'll break your house. That's when you see them tell you you're not going to cultivate at a mountain what? At a mountain top. Because we know at the end of the day, your activities are going to affect us. So even if we've lost hope to some extent, continuity of nature speaking will restore sanity, though this is going to be very expensive. See, learning by experience is good, though it's very expensive at times if the experience is very unfortunate.
Yeah. Because look at the fact that even when, like Felix was saying about putting this to a regional level, really, you will find that most countries in our region, East Africa, have actually done more, especially with the laws governing the plastic or kavera, like we know it here. But why is it that it's only Uganda that is lacking behind in making sure this is completely banned? I am telling you, our neighbors have done this and we're in the same region. So even if we put it to a regional level, but us as a country, we are not willing to actually take that extra step. No one is going to come from Rwanda or Kenya and tell you, please ban plastics, unless you as a country come up and know that this is bad for your environment and this is bad for nature and you ban it. Other than that, we are just going to keep talking and there is no action. That is for sure.
Well, we hope a day when we wake up when we can no longer have food because our souls are totally turned into a disaster because of kavera, then we shall wake up and we shall pass such laws. Let nature speak. We shall act, I'm very sure. It is time we also look at some of the stories that are trending in the print media. Like we told you, you're home, but it is our role to spice up your Friday as we usher you into the weekend. That is something we do. And also ensure that away from the music and the artists entertaining you, we give you relevant information, keeping you updated with what is trending. Now we look at the New Vision and the Daily Monitor. Reshuffle. Museveni appoints permanent secretaries, advisors, young technocrats take key government positions. Look at Nachiwala Kiyingi, presidential advisor, gender and youth affairs. Honorable former minister, now she comes in that. Audrey Kirabo, senior presidential advisor. Then Lucy Nachobe, head of public service, secretary to cabinet. Betty Olive Namisango Kamia. I think this is one of the appointments that many people are speaking about. Now she is the new Inspector General of Government, Betty Namisango. We have Geraldine Sally, PS, that is in Trade and Industry. Karor Okrut, Senior Advisor on Public Relations. Yes, once a minister, member of now there. Then Ramadan Ngobi, one of the panelists, that is behind the headlines on UBC TV. Now that is he's a permanent secretary of finance, Minister of Finance. That is Ramadan Ngobi. Keith Muhakanizi from finance now to office of the Prime Minister as permanent secretary. Oh, we have people that I'm proud of. We have Honorable Margaret Mohanga and also Ramadan Ngobi. Panelists, one is a minister now and the other now becomes a PS. Kudos. We now look at NSSF still here benefits. Museveni meets workers leaders. Yes, we saw Asha Were saying we are going to meet the president still and raise this bill, more of this again. Parliament to amend land law. This is something that we believe is top on the agenda, effective next week, that we shall see members of parliament debate to amend this. Remembering Garanga Cash. Okay, what are they referring to? The New Vision gives you more of that. And court teacher held over caning people to death. Thought caning was abolished long time ago. Then COVID-19 give Lamwaka 3.7 billion. Museveni directs finance. Okay, give that money. Then when we look at the education column, we have senior 1 and senior 6 work where they bring you physics, economics, English and chemistry. Yes, Felix.
Now, of course, the Daily Monitor, Museveni names new permanent secretaries, and among them, The new faces, Lucy Nachobe, Adolphe Mwesije, Ramadan Gobi, Geraldine Sali, Lieutenant General Musanyufu, and Mariam Wagadia. But also those retained, Dana Twine, Kenneth Omona, and Asuman Lukwago. But those that were dropped, Clerk to Parliament, that is Jen Chibidige, Patrick Mugoya, and Christine Guwatude. Now advisors are Adonia Ayebade, Nachiwala Chinji, Audrey Rabogo, Mary Karolo Krut, John Mitala, and new role, IGG Betty Namisango Kamya. But also in the school pullout, now Salvatore road to costume designing, and soldier shoots man dead in night bar brow over woman. But also in Gulu University, Harbor COVID-19 cleared, green light. President said to directed finance to give them 3.7 billion to develop this drug. That's a good thing, and at least as the president promised, we are finally getting there. Now, inside the papers, jabs only way out of COVID trap, experts come to say, and Saad Harari, Lebanon's prime minister designated, also stepped down. But also from the archives is a photo with the first lady, Mrs. Okero Rutwa, who was switching on a Christmas tree, that is in 1985. Now in history today, the first atomic bomb test is successfully exploded, and Congress declares Washington DC capital.
Looking at the new vision, we begin with statistics. That is on the second page of COVID-19, where confirmed new cases are at 406. Then death, that is 46, arise from what we registered yesterday. We also look at total deaths so far, 2,249. Total death, 2,249. Then we look at signs. We won't forget to remind you: symptoms of COVID-19, fever, cough, shortness of breath, sore throat, and headache. Know your member of parliament. The new vision brings you Joseph Komolo, that is Dodoth, North County, Kabong District Member of Parliament. Today in history, it was on this very date, July 16th, but the year 2004, when Sheikh Saad Luwemba was buried. Also on the same date, the year 1979, Saddam Hussein became Iraq's president. A photo there, that is of a veteran politician forcefully circumcised in Kampala. That was Stephen Mujoroto, an elderly Uganda People's Congress veteran from Mbale, after being forcefully circumcised by tribesmen at Nsambya in Kampala. This was on the 25th of June 2008. Felix, sports.
Well, of course, now in Monitor Sports, we're still out on Biekwaso and Rugby Cranes Uploud Lady Cranes exhibition. But also, Simba wants that is 120 million, and Pool struggles to raise from COVID-induced slumber. Now, Middleton Saints backs, that is past Suns to NBA Finals at 2-2, and Messi Barcelona agrees to stay on reduced wages. Now, Team Uganda feeling at home in Testerton, and of course, Bolts tells Richardson to refocus and push on after cannabis ban.
Yeah, the new vision past. Who is that? Sarah Chelenget, ready for us, remaining with 7 days to go to the Olympics. And in football, Messi stays out. More of this. Ruben will be here to give you more of the details in the world of sports this morning. Please do not miss that segment for the sports lovers. We always have that for you, where we talk about those touchy, very hot stories, and of course more regarding sports. But Felix, before we end this, I need to seek your opinion on forceful circumcision. Circumcision is a good thing, and we know, yes, for the Gisu culture, this is something they treasure. But should it be forceful? In case you're of age and you're found, you're not circumcised, and then they round you up if you're a Gisu lad.
Well, it's their culture, and clearly it has passed the test of time, and for them, they are fine with it. That's a matter of fact. It's common, and it's something they practice without any sort of attribute to abuse.
So you're a human rights advocate most of the times. If this is culture, but I'm not willing, so as an infringement someone's rights.
Well, as I said, it is common. It's a common practice to them, and it has, because for it, as long as it passes being natural, it's not in conflict with natural justice, and it's not an abuse to human dignity. I guess then what's wrong with it?
Okay.
But anyway, we will now take a break. But when we come back, we'll have another performance by, that is the lovely lady who's doing the guitar. And definitely something I'm looking up to listen. But when we come back also, later on, Robert will be interacting with Rachel, giving us the roundup of the week. And I can't wait to have sports updates with Ruben. But also amidst there, we'll be having the lady herself, Molen Kenyana, giving us some of those weather tips as we head into the weekend. And also an anticipation whether it will be cold, chilly, scattered, those words she used. Let's take a break.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
As the financial year 2020-2021 draws to an end, URA has put measures in place to facilitate taxpayers to file their returns and pay taxes within the set deadline. All our offices across the country and the URA Contact Center shall remain open to provide extra support to our esteemed taxpayers. Additionally, we have extended our contact center service hours from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday and from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays and public holidays. In light of the COVID-19 risks, we encourage taxpayers to reach us through our improved contact center and other online platforms instead of making physical visits to our offices. For online support, please reach us through our toll-free lines 0800 117 000 or 0800 217 000. Email services@ura.go.ug. Website ura.go.ug. Social media: Facebook, URA page, Twitter @URA Uganda. URA Customs Help Tool, help.ura.go.ug/login. URA appreciates all taxpayers who have duly fulfilled their obligations. Stay safe and let us all observe the standard operating procedures to prevent further spread of the COVID-19 virus. Stay safe as we develop Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite shows.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
This next song is called Jesus, and I would like to dedicate it to my family, the Mbabazi family out there watching, and the Tentas group as well. Thank you for tuning in.
You got me on no sides, you ground my feet and lift me high. My worth is in your name, and that is why I magnify. I've searched all over and I couldn't find no other who could love me like you do. I'm glad you are my father. If it go years that come by are they all infinite. My God is bigger than all the problems that we find. It will make you stronger. Zero for your pride. If it can walk on the water, it will lift you up. If it can change the weather, He's got your back. Jesus, yeah. Jesus, Jesus, yeah. The lover of my soul. If it can walk on the water, He will lift you up. If it can change the weather, He's surely got you back. Jesus, yeah. Jesus, Jesus, yeah. The lover of my soul. Yeshua, Yeshua, He's Jesus. Yeah, yes, my Jesus. Yeshua, Yeshua.
Live from UBC Studios in Kampala. This is Good Morning Uganda.
It's no secret that ICT makes learning easy.
The strides made in our field couldn't be possible without it.
And now we can watch our favorite show.
My radio is my best friend.
UCC provides an enabling regulatory environment and policy guidance for healthy competition. We also facilitate ease of doing business in the communications sector through licensing, standardization, spectrum management, tariff regulation, rural communication development, and consumer empowerment. An informed consumer is an empowered consumer. UCC supports local content and innovations. Driving the development of a robust communication sector in Uganda is Uganda Communications Commission.
Pick of the day on UBC, brought to you by.
Their job is to keep you and me healthy and well. But sometimes they try in vain.
Was brought to you by.
We've cut and reduced our MTN Momo withdrawal rates. Now you can withdraw mobile money at the lowest rates. You also get MTN Central Points when you deposit, send, and withdraw MTN mobile money. Visit our Momo agents countrywide and withdraw mobile money at our reduced rates from 1st May 2021. Everywhere you go, MTN.
Good morning to you once again. It is Good Morning Uganda here in UBC TV. And today is a special Friday. Welcome back from those very nice performances that we bring it to you every Friday to make sure that you actually end the week in a very great style. Well, I come with more on weather and nature, and we want to first take a look at our image of the day that is captured by Copernicus Sentinel-3, that is a satellite that is giving us what is happening in the sky. And today we are focusing mostly on air pollution. Now this image right here shows the smoke that is within the atmosphere over Europe after those wildfires that broke out in Canada and also for much of northwestern part of USA. Now this is actually where you see the smoke, the white clouds. This is what they're looking at in terms of pollution, how much this smoke coming from the raging wildfires have actually contributed to air pollution. That is coming to us right this morning from Copernicus. But also we want to talk more in regard to what happened across River Nyamwamba. We did see floods across most areas for southwestern Uganda and also western Uganda. We did see those floods coming from River Nyamwamba bursting its banks. Now, it's not the first time that this is happening. We have seen a lot of frequency in terms of what really happened over that area. Now, over the years, especially for the last 2 decades, we have seen more and more of this happening. Whenever the river bursts its banks, that causes flash flooding across the area and also making people leave their homes. And we also lost lives, I think, in the last flood that was there caused by River Nyamwamba. We also did have a lot of people being evacuated from this place. Now, it's only fortunate that for this incident we didn't have people losing their lives, but we have seen most of these events happening. And for me, I still want to emphasize that this is a reality for us. It is a reality in terms of climate change, and we want to call for a climate emergency globally, not just in Uganda. Because while we are looking at the floods in Kasese, also we have a story. We did take that story early this morning about Germany also looking at a river bursting its banks and the flooding. Now, when you look at what happened, and we have that video there coming from DW, you look at what is happening across the world. These were also floods in Germany. Now, the important thing is also to look at the adaptive capacity for different countries. And for them, yes, even when they have all these adaptive measures, the events still keep happening. And from that, we've seen recently the wildfires that we are talking about. We've seen the hurricanes being more frequent and taking lives. And also for most of these areas, especially Europe, has had a lot of incidences this year in regard to extreme weather events. Now, you have to stop and think what we can do to stop this. We won't stop nature from bringing all these events, but what we can stop is contributing to all these extreme weather events. Now, first of all, we always talk about climate change. We always talk about what we can do in terms of climate action. We talk about deforestation. We talk about afforestation. But in actual sense, we want to look at this as an individual fight, really. And I'm going to emphasize that if we don't put pressure upon governments and our leaders, then all this action will really not be feasible or possible for most governments. And for Uganda especially, we look mostly at the adaptive capacity, because this is happening, but especially in terms of evacuation plans. If we have better evacuation plans for areas that have been mapped now, for example, River Nyamwamba, we know that this region is susceptible to these events, but if we can come up with a very good plan to make sure we don't actually lose lives or even evacuate people before, this would be a good thing to do in terms of looking at how frequent these extreme weather events are going to look like over the years. Now, taking a look at what happened over last night and also into the early morning today from our satellites, we did start off the day with that rain system that started over Lake Victoria, and that was moving in all through across the Lake Victoria Basin, where you see the deep blue, yellow and orange colors. That is rain over there. Now that system did start off early this morning, but also late in the night we had those rains starting off. And that is those are the rains we were having in Kampala, also for Jinja and Tororo. We did have some of those also up to the western parts of Lake Victoria. That is where we have Masaka, and also extending up to Sembabule. Now that rain system is still there, but we have seen most areas right now are starting to clear up, except the system continues up to continues westwards, and that will also be bringing us rains, especially across the southwestern part of the country. We also have one that is developing here across central northern Uganda, and also for the Karamoja region. That also started off with some rains across that area, but it will also be moving down towards the Choga region. This area can expect to continue with those rains as the system continues to develop. We also see mostly cloudy conditions across much of the country. And this is actually what is keeping us with mostly cold conditions. This morning, I can tell you, most areas are dealing with very, very cold conditions. But later, as the day goes on, we shall see most of these rainy systems clearing, especially across the eastern part of Lake Victoria, that is across Tororo. This system will be moving a little bit inside, and we could see those blue-orange colors reaching up to central. That is where we have parts of Nakasongola. That is where we have parts of Ruwero. We will be seeing those later in the evening develop more, but also more are starting to develop across the midwestern part of the country. Take a look at this area of Albert, Masindi and Toroko. Fort Portal can expect to have rains develop later in the day. The system is still very small, but it will be developing as the day continues. We will go ahead and take a look at our forecast for this morning across different regions over the country, but we did start off with mostly cloudy conditions, so those will be bringing us rains across several places. And starting off with the western part of Lake Victoria, that is where we have Masaka, we have Kalisizo, Sembabule. We are forecasting those isolated showers. Still temperatures at 23 degrees, quite a cold morning over there. If you are moving over towards Masaka and that region, you might need to carry something warm. Now for the eastern part of central, that is Ruwero, Wobulenzi, we have Nakaseke. In that category, we are also forecasting those isolated showers across the region. Temperatures at 24, also quite a chilly morning over there, but that will be warming up later in the day. Now for eastern Uganda, we do have Soroti, Katakwi, Amuria, and Kumi. We are also forecasting light rains across the region, starting off at 25 degrees centigrade, quite also cold over there. Temperatures will be rising later in the day, at least up to 29. Now, for the eastern part of the country, that is eastern Lake Victoria Basin specifically, we're looking at Tororo, Busia, Iganga, and Jinja. We're also having those isolated rains. The rain system is already in that place, and most areas are already experiencing these rains, but temperatures are 24, quite a cold morning as well over there. Now, Mbale, that is where we have Mount Elgon Highlands, Bududa, Buko, and Sironko. We are forecasting light rains as well. That system is already in place, and that will be bringing us rains across that area, and for several places at least 50%. Now, looking at southwestern Uganda, where we have Mbarara, we have Uganda, Bushenyi, Rubirizi, we're also forecasting those rains. Quite a cold morning at 23 degrees centigrade. And that will also be clearing later in the day. Now, for central Lake Victoria Basin, that is where we have the nation's capital, Kampala, we have Entebbe, we have Wakiso, Mukono. We did start off with those rainy systems, but more expected across several places, and also quite a cold morning at 23 degrees centigrade. Central northern Uganda, that is where we have Gulu, Kitgum, Padel. We are forecasting light rains across the region, already having cloudy conditions, also starting off with a cold morning at 25 degrees centigrade.
Well, that area will also be having more of those rains clearing later in the afternoon, but we will see temperatures also for that area going up to at least 29 or 28 degrees later in the afternoon. Now, that is all we've had for you in terms of our weather updates across the country. I will be linking to Robert to take us through Good Morning Uganda agenda. Do keep it to UBC. We have more coming and more performances still. My name is Molen Kenyana, wishing you a good morning.
Thank you, Molen Kenyana, for that weather and nature. And of course, technology and science helps us to be more organized. And you can only be more organized, better plan when you begin your day with us here on Good Morning Uganda. For Friday, it is Friday special where Molen gives you the weather, what it's going to be like, so that you can have your umbrella, you can have your cardigan, you can have your jacket, and not be held at a certain place, miss opportunities simply because you don't have an umbrella, you didn't have a raincoat or something like that. So always make it a date with us on Good Morning Uganda and Friday special, because it's the only show in the land that gives you weather updates in the morning. Once again, I'm Robert Kirabo Nyonyintono, and it's time we look at stories that have made headlines throughout the week. Every Friday, we have a press review. We analyze, we have an in-depth analysis of what the week has been like in terms of current affairs and what has really dominated. And I don't do this alone. I'm with the lady Rachel Takali, and she's still beautifully dressed in African wear. Good morning.
Morning.
Rachel, how has your week been?
Okay.
It began on Sunday by 7, where we saw some city dwellers also jubilating that yes, the Nabanja money had reached. They had received that on their phones, so they were excited. I know you don't qualify, but let's begin with that.
Well, not many people are still as happy as when it was first announced, but some progress has been made. I think a significant number of people still remain to receive this money. We're hoping that in the next few days the process will be concluded as anticipated, but it's been slower than had been thought for a number of reasons. They say among which the fact that the local governments have been very slow in providing the lists, but also verifying them has led to a number of mismatches. And so they talked about people listing names one way and then being registered on their national ID in another way. And so there have been hitches that were not foreseen, but some progress.
Well, for me, I would just urge them to expedite the process, because it seems that yes, this is meant to be relief, and if you have to look at the 42 days, so in case it comes, you're already halfway the 42 days.
True.
You're almost coming to the end of the 42 days. So will it still serve the purpose if it's delayed longer than it has taken? So I think this is money that should have been on their account some time back. They should have received these messages, and much as we must close gaps, irregularities, but also anything delayed at times will not serve the purpose. Because when they come out and talk about 1,500 people whose names, the data and all that maybe is not in line or is not in tandem, so those are excluded, then those that the data is really clear, let them get this money and it serves the purpose. I believe there was so much excitement, but day by day the excitement seems to be reducing. I know of a village where so far only 2 people have received this money, and I'm asking myself.
It's bad. It really is. And Honorable Nabanja, I don't think she's feeling very good about how things are turning out. You would think that they had more experience, given the fact that this very exercise was undertaken, not in the very same way, but was undertaken during the first cycle, lockdown that is. And apparently those lessons were not well internalized. So going forward, we are looking forward to a time when all the mistakes are not made as we watch. That's ugly.
Well, we just pray that the vulnerable get this money, but also away from Sunday where there was hope that even people in Kampala began receiving. Let's move to another catchy story of this week. We had the COVIDex, that was done. There are legal battles, there are challenges here and there between the university. But now we have COVID-1. This is from JULY University. And very interesting, His Excellency has welcomed this. And also we are lively informed that about 3.7 billion has been given to Dr. Lamwaka to ensure they continue with this. This seems also another breakthrough in the treatment of COVID-19 if more tests are confirmed.
It is, and I think one of the things that stand out is that there's been a shift. You know, once upon a time, Makerere had a chokehold on all important innovations in this country, academically based, of course. But now that we see that Professor Ogwan, for example, who's based at Bara University, and then of course Dr. Lamwaka now, I think it's a resounding hands up or thumbs up for the government decentralization of higher education. It's paying off. It's been many years, coming to 30 I think, since MUST began, and Gulu more recently. But I think it's a resounding thumbs up for the decentralization. In other words, there are good brains in Bara, there are good brains in Gulu. They're not just at Makerere. In this situation, I don't know what Makerere is thinking, I don't know what they're doing, but these formations, these fairly new establishments, are giving them a run for their money, which is a good thing. So if Makerere goes to sleep, some other folks are not sleeping. But aside from that, Dr. Lamwaka in particular is extremely passionate about transforming traditional medicine, bringing it up to par, giving it the recognition that it deserves. You know, Western medicine for us is a fairly recent thing, but traditional medicine has been with us for many, many years. In fact, it continues to play a significant role in treating ailments of every variety. But the fact that it has been overlooked, it has been downtrodden, and I think it's a direct colonial legacy. The white man never really gave us any credit for anything. And it's sad that the scientific, the bodies that govern the supervision of scientific innovations are still in the colonial mindset.
Talk about that, and that is something that I also find very, really disturbing. I see this as a trivial issue. Why does Lamwaka have to suffer with a Ugandan body to accredit this? Then what will happen if it goes to international scene? If you're not received in your own, you're not cherished by your own, then what will happen out of the rest? I love the way Madagascar did it, though it wasn't a clear breakthrough. When Madagascar came up with the hub, you would see that the president, all the bodies were up to see what Madagascar had done. It was just trashed at the World Health levels, international levels, and little are we now talking about that. But when we come to Uganda, I would feel that this should be a pride for every Ugandan. And we should see that all these bodies, instead of coming out to maybe criticize, either direct or ensure that we own. It's later patented, it's later, we get a breakthrough to this. But also I found it involved actually the president. If you look at COVID list 1, that is the president's intervention that is getting to these levels. Otherwise, it had been frustrated.
Which is also true. But I think the president has often had issues with the elite in this country. And I think this brings into sharp focus that there are many people holding offices that they have no business holding. Because if you really cannot support your own, because if we are talking Dr. Lamwaka, she's not a simple little herbalist straight out of Lacho or wherever, the farthest village in Acholi somewhere. This is a seasoned, learned scientist. And so, if you can despise, treat her as if she's nothing, this is not good for this country. You know, the president brought in one room the boss of Uganda Registration Services Bureau. And he also brought into one room the boss of National Drug Authority. Because he knows very well that if Lamwaka is left at the mercy of these people, it will be 10, 20, or never years before we hear anything. So it is a call, a wake-up call to these people, lest they be branded saboteurs. This is really unnecessary. These people need to style up. They really need to. And
that is the justification why we've seen so much of what should have been owned by Ugandans being taken advantage of the Western world. We've seen so many professors that come up with the discoveries, and then they're later that have to fly out of this country. Then they become key patented products that later return to Uganda, and we buy them expensively.
You're even talking about the white man, but it's even nearer home than you think. There are many products in this country, especially produce, fresh produce, that are imported into Kenya, bought by Kenyans, and rebranded as produce of Kenya. Because the processes here have all sorts of issues. The bureaucracy is atrocious. The processes are discouraging. And so what happens, many of these farmers, they give up their produce as in raw form, and Kenya reprocesses and says produce of Kenya. So really something needs to change.
But we just hope this is also another major breakthrough in the fight against COVID-19. If you have the COVIDX as supportive treatment for COVID-19, then here comes, that is the COVID list 1. We believe we are heading to a right direction. We want to thank His Excellency for being at the forefront of seeing that what is made in Uganda as a remedy to some of these problems we are having is really developed properly, and we can take advantage of it. I think he's walking the talk when he said, Africa, we cannot wait for the Western world.
We can continue like this.
We can't continue like this. So if we have our very own coming up with these initiatives, let's support them. Let's ensure that we do fight this. Very interesting. Rachel, finally, also it was yesterday when we saw a reshuffle. The president made a couple of appointments as permanent secretaries. We saw appointment of an inspector as general of government. Betty Olive Namisango Kamya. Let's begin with that.
I think the president is making an important statement concerning how he expects to execute these next 5 years. I think there are plenty of surprises ahead of us. We've had surprises in the appointment of the Prime Minister. There are a number of changes that have been interesting, but they continue to be more interesting. Who would have thought that Betty Kamya would actually be named the IGG? I'm not saying she's incapable, but I don't even think she's a lawyer, because before they've been justices of some of these higher courts. But it's good if it works. The white man says something should only be judged on the outcome. I think when it comes to moving the accounting officers, chief accounting officers, I really applaud that. There is a tendency in this country for people who hold offices for long to lose it. So it is good for permanent secretaries to be moved around. By the time you find your way around some of these things.
And meaning around some of these things Rachel is referring to having
corruption,
long fingers in terms of corruption, because they're used. And actually most of the corruption tendencies in Uganda are what we call syndicate corruption. That at a time we are colleagues, and even when you come to investigate, since almost everybody around has been involved, then it makes it very hard for the investigative machinery to come up with meaningful success through these investigations.
So some of the longest serving permanent secretaries, among them Mr. Muhakanizi, has been moved elsewhere. And of course there is the fresh entrant, Ramadan Gobi, who's the PS now of finance. That doesn't mean that we expect wonders or anything. But I think there are statements there that the president is making. It's not very clear what statement he's making, but he is making some statements.
Yes.
For example, we have senior presidential advisor, first time government appointee, Odrek Wabogo, and there are others who have made their we have Nachove,
Lucy from State House Controller.
Yes, now she's the Secretary of the Cabinet. I'm waiting to see what this means overall. But I think the changes signal the thinking of the president going forward. In other words, taking things for granted will not work. Expecting the normal, ordinary way of doing things, I think will not work. And I expect that very interesting changes await us.
Then finally, as we conclude, Parliament resumed business. We saw members going to specific committees of Parliament. Some were happy, excited, while others said they believe they were being frustrated, more so from the NRM by their party chief whip, because they believe they were qualifying to be on these committees.
The brand new Tayewa?
But unfortunately, they weren't on these committees. Let's look at the really these committees, first and foremost, their relevance, of course, there are 29 committees, and also in terms of affairs of this August House, more so now that we are seeing a more youthful, full of youth, a more, I would say, vocal, we want to expect, and maybe a more dramatic parliament.
Unfortunately, these committees no longer have the stature they once had. There have been rumors of compromise, left, right, and center, infighting, treachery. There's all kinds of underhand dealings that have nothing to do with proper oversight of government matters. Unfortunately, many of these committees have sunk to levels of personal preservation, self-aggrandizement, personal promotion. They really have veered sharply, of course.
That explains why we see that scramble for.
We don't have any grand expectations. These people have been letting us down year upon year, and it's been getting worse. I don't expect it will get better. Not in the short term, no.
Well, those are some of the stories that made headlines throughout the week. Of course, we know that NRM, they're also in IG, that is the Electoral Commission, to find a replacement to the late, that is Matthias Kasamba, who was remaining, I think, 1 year to end his tenure at the East African Legislative Assembly. People are really yearning also to take upon that slot as the representation of NRM at the East African Assembly. That will be giving you more coming next week, we hope. Tango Doi and the party, maybe by then, will have come up with who their suitable candidate for that.
At least they narrowed it down to Uganda. So the other candidates from other regions have been asked to kindly step away. This one is preserved for the Central region. That's a start.
We just hope and pray that the best candidate will take it on. Well, we'll have a break and we'll return with more performances for you there by our great artists. It is a Friday. We spice up the Friday by giving you a feel where you may have missed such because of the lockdown. We do that every Friday, and it is Friday special. Good morning.
As the financial year 2020-2021 draws to an end, URA has put measures in place to facilitate taxpayers to file their returns and pay taxes within the set deadline. All our offices across the country and the URA Contact Center shall remain open to provide extra support to our esteemed taxpayers. Additionally, we have extended our contact center service hours from 8 a.m. to 11 p.m. Monday to Friday and from 9 a.m. to 3 p.m. on Saturdays and public holidays. In light of the COVID-19 risks, we encourage taxpayers to reach us through our improved contact center and other online platforms instead of making physical visits to our offices. For online support, please reach us through our toll-free lines 0800 117 000 or 0800 217 000. Email services@ura.go.ug. Website ura.go.ug. Social media: Facebook, URA page, Twitter @URA Uganda. URA Customs Help Tool, help.ura.go.ug/login. URA appreciates all taxpayers who have duly fulfilled their obligations. Stay safe and let us all observe the standard operating procedures to prevent further spread of the COVID-19 virus. Stay safe as we develop Uganda together.
Uganda Revenue Authority, developing Uganda together.
Ekya COVID-19 kijja kugwa. If we get vaccinated now, observe social distancing, wear masks properly, sanitize or wash our hands with soap and water regularly. Together we can defeat this enemy.
This is Good Morning Uganda.
Well, good morning once again. As it is, the weather is a bit chilly, says Molin, the weather lady, but of course also we feel it inside here. It's getting hot because of the kind of music we're enjoying from Prophet and KARUNGI. Now, we just want to have a small chat with them before they give us their last performances. Clearly, also social media pages are blowing up, excited about you guys and your performances. You know, Uganda is one of those places where you realize talent almost in every aspect. When you go to sports, you realize many people are very, very much talented. But in the industry of arts, it's also tremendous. Guess what? Today we're having a new life in terms of entertainment. And I'll start with you, KARUNGI.
Yeah.
When did you start singing?
I started singing in Sunday school, which was like, I think I was 5 or 4.
Remember any songs you used to sing?
There's a song we did for one Christmas production. Happy birthday, Jesus.
Wow. How old was Jesus then?
I'm so I'm so glad it's Christmas. Yeah.
Oh, wow. And me, I could only remember Twinkle, Twinkle, Little Star. Some of those. I know, but our Sunday school was more for us in Uganda, so the songs are.
I also
they're really enjoyable. Wow,
yeah.
That's a good thing. And how long have you been doing like music away from your bedroom?
Like professionally, I started 2019.
Where and with what?
My dad is called Harry Lwanga, and he's a musician. He's a secular artist and a guitarist.
Oh yeah.
So we had a show at the National Theatre. It was called Unveiling KARUNGI, and it was a really fun experience.
You enjoyed it?
Yeah, it was fun. It was the first live concert I had done with Prophet, with a whole band and people, man.
Saying,
yeah.
Wow.
Yes, that's how it started.
That's beautiful. Now, just also checking out Prophet. So, how long have you been doing music professionally out of your bathroom? Clearly, every man sings, but now let's talk about the bit where you're out of your bathroom.
Well, professionally, I started in 2017, though I went to studio for the first time in 2015. Yeah, but professionally 2017.
Okay.
Yeah.
And what project did you work on in that particular time?
Well, there were a couple of projects. I remember I did my first song called By My Side, and I dropped a couple of 2 more. I did a collab with D-Rain that year.
D-Rain.
Yeah, a song called Love Story.
You know we had D-Rain last Friday here.
Yeah.
So within the studio.
Yeah. So yeah, that's how I started off. Yeah.
So how's been the journey? What are kind of challenges you've found as a person who chose to do gospel music? I can just tell you something, that I've interacted with many of the gospel artists, and most of them haven't been interested in public opinion, selling out, concerts. We've seen probably Pastor Bugembe do that, but also at some point he said, I can't do this anymore, it's not my calling. What's the public perception for gospel artists? What have you found in the industry?
Well, through my experience, it's been a lot of mixed feelings. Yeah, a lot of mixed feelings. You find, to me, purposely, it comes back to the purpose of why you're actually doing gospel music. For me, my sole main purpose is to proclaim the name of Jesus Christ around the world, right? So, like I said, it's kind of mixed feelings. Sometimes, for me as an artist, when I was starting up, you find some people had their own opinions of the music that I do. You could take music somewhere and the guys just you say, no, not yet, and all that stuff. But to me, it's been a journey of learning. I've actually learned. I remember there are some times when my music was rejected on some stations, but I didn't go back lamenting or something. I just went back to add on to do better. So to me, it's been a learning process and a process of improvement to reach this stage where I am today.
Okay. That's cool. Now, I just want both of you to talk about this whole competition you guys are in, because it would be very unfair for me not to let you guys make this comment about them. One, I understand they've been there before, and probably they'll be going on. I want to believe that many people have gone through the same, and I think it's a very beautiful gesture. So maybe I'll start with Karungi. What's your experience through this whole competition, if I may call it?
Well, it's not a competition, it's more like a mentorship program.
Yeah.
And talking about, when you asked about the music industry, this program has helped me change my perspective of the industry, of the music industry. Before I thought I could, I actually had to be in the music industry and be like the rest of the the musicians and all that. I had to do particular things to fit into the whole music industry, but this program has taught me to be unique. Like I have to do me, like be authentic, be you, be real, and it's really taught me.
Lovely. Yes, Prophet. Anything particular you think that you've sort of like grasped out of this whole program?
Well, a lot, and I want to thank PROFET. I've learned a lot as an artist on how to like brand myself, on how to relate with media and other things. But for me, the outstanding bit was this program has helped me come to the realization that I'm not just an artist who just sings. I'm actually doing what I do from a point of authority, and I should be very mindful of the power and authority that I have, because people listen to what I'm doing. So that's authority. And I should influence these people that listen to what I do in a positive way, for God. So it really helped, because at first I used to just do music, you doing gospel music, Jesus music and all that, but not actually realize that there is a whole group of other people that are looking up to you and stuff. So I got to understand the depth of this authority, and now I'm going to do better, use this power and authority in a better professional way. Good. For the glory of God.
It would be unfair also not to talk about the time of COVID. You and me believe that we're in terrible times. We may call them. We have been in this situation probably now coming close to 2 years. Maybe just briefly before I let you guys do your performances, and I'll start with you, Prophet. What's your comment about this whole COVID thing? Is there any lessons learned, any ways out of it?
Well, discipline. Number one, being disciplined.
In terms of keeping quiet.
Not in terms of keeping quiet.
Sorry, 3 times.
Following. It's been really hard. We have been made to follow SOPs and regulations that we actually weren't used to. I know, so at some point you feel like, why am I wearing this mask and stuff like that? But it has really, number one, discipline, patience. And this time has helped me a lot to reflect on my life and, loving the people around me. Before, you could just maybe think that if you send your loved one money or stuff that's it. But actually having ample time to connect more with them, learn them, and them also understanding you more. So it's been cool.
Learning discipline. Okay. So Prophet learned about discipline. You learned about what?
Family. Before I didn't have enough time for family. And
what were you doing?
School, then music, then more school, then church, then I was here and there. But then, first of all, I'm a performing artist. I love the performing arts, that singing, dancing, acting. It had me around places. But this time has got me to connect with my family. And then it has personally got me to connect with God as well.
Send shout outs to family that you connected with before they unconnect you. So
shout outs to Mbawazi family.
All right. So somebody tells me that your climax performance is supposed to be sometime in September. Is it true? I don't know how true it is.
Yes.
19th around there, September. Yes. So. Okay, we will be watching out. We will be watching out. Clearly, we'll be following you to make sure we. But anyway, lastly, what are expectations after this mentorship program? Do you guys want to, go in studio and bust the microphones and do what? Hey, let me start with you, Karungi. What are your plans after this whole mentorship climax thing?
First of all, I'm hoping UBC will call me also again, like after the mentorship, the mentorship program. Yeah, for like, you know, other shows.
I know, yeah.
And then, but generally, I want to like push out the music and push out the music to the people that actually need it. There are songs that we have written and we have sung that actually work for the people. Like people will call you and tell you, man, this song got me out of this situation. This song. So those kinds of people that actually need these songs are the ones I am looking out for and planning to do music for.
Yeah, that's quite okay. Prophet, what do you expect to do after this the climax of this program?
Yeah, well, this is just a real big push, and the music is I'm still releasing music.
Cool.
I have an EP, or what I can call to the a mini album. Yeah, coming up anytime now. So it's just hit after hit.
Wow.
Yeah, there is no resting.
So for some of you who are in lockdown, locking yourselves, there are people here who have EP, mini albums, and we expect much and much. Clearly, for all of you guys back home there, please be inspired. Make sure you do bring out the best in you in terms of talent. It is also heavenly and gracious for you guys to maximize your talent. It's even written in the Bibles. For those that did keep their talents, to give them back to God. He wasn't happy, but for those who went and multiplied, clearly I'll let my colleagues multiply their talents in our studios here, and I guess we'll be having a past performance from Prophet. So I'll let you guys take on the stage, enjoy yourselves, and of course it's been an honor having you. Please come back whenever you're ready.
And then I'm meeting you, like I said, I'm starstruck.
Yeah, goosebumps.
I know, but it's always a pleasure. Yeah. All right, so I'll let you guys take it on, and later on we'll be having Ruben to give us the sports updates. Much and much we wait to hear how Messi accepts to stay in Barcelona for a salary cut. Can imagine. I guess used and dusted. Anyway. Let's have Prophet and Karungi give us the performances.
Yeah, this is a special one for all the lovers. You know how we do this. From the African prince to the queen, I have to let you know that you're the type I've never seen. So fresh, so clean, not in a hurry, taking risk like a teen. When kutunulido masa masanga zabu, you belong to me, my galo. Wasangula maziga like a towel. I owe it to you, so the scores are now level. Tambula, tambula, tetualinye no love zitoa. Kwata, my baby kwata. Omukono gwange nakupenda. Omutima gwange baby waguwamba. Abasigade keep them out gomupira. This love is forever, I no retire. My African beauty grab a singer. Nkwagala nnyo kusinga ebyafaayo byo, nkwesize nnyo tukole ebyafaayo, nkwagala nnyo kusinga ebyafaayo byo, nkwesize nnyo tukole ebyafaayo. Sure. Love me, you are my honey. Hey, love me. I say you are my honey. Check this. 2 shots, 2 spills. No trading this love, peace closed. When I look into your eyes, I'm amazed. God gave me the best woman, never fails. Katono nyo, tukuba nyo. Vekapo yo mwa kalavono. Everything I do for you, I'm all yours. Let's go to church and say those wedding vows. My love is your love, and your love is my love. Mazokwe together, I'm in love. Light shining bright on us, let's twin hun. My baby ndagukunda, ndagukunda. Eyes on us, tetubaswaza. My mama sita, nkwagala nnyo kusinga ebyafaayo byo. Nkwesize nnyo tukole ebyafaayo. Nze nkwagala nnyo kusinga ebyafaayo byo. Nkwesize nnyo tukole ebyafaayo. Love, love, love. Love me. You are my honey. Show. Say, love me. You mama honey zenkwagala nnyo kusinga ebyafaayo byo kwesize nnyo tukole ebyafaayo kwagala nnyo kusinga ebyafaayo byo zenkwesize nnyo tukole ebyafaayo sure African Prince, this love is real. Yeah. Shout out to Momo Queen. You know what it is. Prophet in the building. Yes, sir.
See for house music. Agama, come to me, Gwenga Woli. Yeah, talk to me, and Zemuno. Go out your love, Okatonda Ngono. Naila City Mutanze, yeah. Lord, I love you to the moon and back. You're my lover, you're my one in a lifetime. Everywhere that I want to go, you're never back and you won't let go. You do the things you do, me love the way you fight for me. Come and do the things you do. Come and do the things you do. Hey. Yeah, Lord, when I hear from you, you make my heart go ting-a-ling-a-ling. When I feel your touch, you make me wanna sing, sing, sing. Your love flows like the blood in my veins. Your presence a flow like a great river Nile. Your word I'm in strength in my soul. Got me swimming over the troubles of the world. Love away. Me love the way you do. You fight for me. Me love the way. Come and do the things you do. Do the things you do. Neto na sere denengwa mumukwano gwo sija kuwana nja kuwa chinana nsula kumutwe olinga zinemviri ontambira musayo linga antidote. And I cannot go a day without you. When bana usipo wa munkuba sitoba mina like. Your love makes me do things. Me love the way you do the things you do. Me love the way you fight for me. Come and do the things you do. Come and do the things you do. Me love the way, me love the way. Karungi again, another one. Jango kole, byoyagala. Jango kole, byoyagala.
Yes, sir. You can follow Karungi on
At Karungi on Facebook, on YouTube, and Instagram, and Twitter at Karungi256.
Yeah, you can follow me, Prophet UG, PROFET UG, on Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter.
We want to say thank you to the people that are watching.
Thank you so much.
The people that have watched from the very beginning.
Yes.
Want to thank you, BC, for this great opportunity.
Yes.
And want to thank also Power FM Presents.
Yes, keep tuned and we're going to see you soon.